3 years ago, and every once in a while you sort of feel the presence, but I don't know whether that's just because you want.
Some legends don't fade. They get even wilder with age. Clint Eastwood at 94 isn't just alive. He's rewriting what it means to live. While most people his age are slowing down, Clint is flying his own helicopter at dawn, crushing punishing workouts before sunrise, and charming a woman nearly half his age. When asked about celebrating birthdays, he simply shrugs. He despises them. Yet, despite his disdain for aging rituals, he just snapped up another multi-million-dollar mansion simply because it felt right. If you think you know Hollywood's toughest cowboy, think again. Because Clint Eastwood's real story is far crazier than the myth. He wasn't born a scrappy underdog, though many fans love to believe he was. Clint's life started on May 31, 1930, not in hardship, but in privilege. Weighing over 11 pounds at birth, nurses nicknamed him Samson. His family lived comfortably in Piedmont, California with 2 cars, a sparkling swimming pool, and a country club membership. His mother even traced their bloodline back to the Mayflower. Still, beneath the surface of this polished upbringing, Clint's true battle was brewing. The fight to craft a persona rugged enough to survive Hollywood's brutal gaze. School was never his strong suit. He stumbled in junior high, repeating a grade, and even at Oakland Technical High, where teachers recognized his spark on stage, Clint was more interested in grease-stained engines and fast cars than Shakespearean sonnets. It's ironic to think that Hollywood's most rugged outlaw almost didn't graduate at all. Yet, behind this rough exterior, there was a hint of artistry, a fierce devotion to the piano. Clint's fingertips bled from hours of relentless practice, a discipline that would later allow him to compose the haunting scores for his own films. Before the cameras ever found him, Clint was already living scenes straight out of a movie. He wrangled wild logs in Oregon, a job so dangerous one mistake could have cost him his life. Then came the Army draft. Stationed at Fort Ord, he bounced between gigs as a bouncer and lifeguard. One night, breaking up a knife fight, he showed the same steel nerves that would later define his screen presence. But nothing compares to the chilling real-life ordeal in 1951 when a Navy aircraft he was aboard crashed near Point Reyes. Battling freezing waters and lurking sharks, Clint swam 2 miles to shore. A survival that wasn't just luck. It was raw, primal grit. That terror became his emotional fuel years later while filming the legendary escape scene in Escape from Alcatraz. Hollywood, however, didn't exactly roll out the red carpet. His first role in Revenge of the Creature paid him a meager $75 a week. On set, Clint fumbled so badly with a lab coat scene that it took 15 excruciating takes. The director hated it. His contract at Universal was terminated after only 18 months. The reasons? His Adam's apple was too big, his speech too slow, and his chipped tooth, unfixed, was too distracting. Standing outside the studio, a young Burt Reynolds joked, "You're screwed. I can learn to act. You can't lose that Adam's apple." Clint just grinned. But fate has a twisted sense of humor. Clint would eventually return to that very same Universal lot, not as a struggling extra, but as a million-dollar leading man. They once rejected him, and now they couldn't afford to lose him. Sometimes, a career hinges on a chance glance. One day at CBS, while chatting with a story editor, Clint caught the eye of executive Robert Sparks. His towering frame and rugged look led to a screen test and, against all odds, a lead role in Rawhide. Suddenly, the very traits that got him fired, his slow drawl, his stoic demeanor, became pure television gold. A fistful of dollars didn't just launch Eastwood into international stardom, it carved a new blueprint for cinematic cool. Speaking barely a handful of words, his presence dominated the screen. Leone didn't speak English, Clint didn't speak Italian, and yet magic unfolded through hand gestures, grit, and mutual vision. Critics called the film cheap and cartoonish. Time magazine mocked Clint as looking like a piece of wood. But the audience saw something different, a magnetic force they couldn't resist. Even after international fame, Clint's real-world choices reflected his no-nonsense, quietly extravagant nature. Throughout his life, Clint's taste in luxury was deliberate, yet understated. His garage housed a stunning collection, including a 1992 GMC Typhoon, a vintage Cadillac Eldorado, and a Tesla Model S, symbolizing his respect for tradition and his willingness to embrace innovation. On his wrist, he's favored classic Rolexes and understated Patek Philippe's, steering clear of the flashy trends embraced by younger Hollywood elites. When it comes to real estate, Eastwood's portfolio reads like a billionaire's dream tour. Lavish properties in Carmel by the Sea, a historic Spanish ranch near Monterey, and sprawling estates in Sun Valley, Idaho, showcase his deep love for wide-open spaces and architectural beauty. His preference for private aviation, often flying his own helicopter, reflects a lifelong pursuit of freedom over showmanship. Meanwhile, his business ventures, from owning the Mission Ranch Hotel to partnering in golf course developments, reveal a shrewd, steady approach to wealth building. Eastwood also understood early the importance of ensuring not just his health, but his career and personal assets. His policies have reportedly included substantial coverage for film delays tied to health risks and property protections for his luxury real estate empire. Financially, Clint offers a masterclass in resilience and intelligent risk-taking. He spent modestly relative to his peers, avoided scandal-driven losses, and diversified consistently. The lesson: build wealth quietly, protect it fiercely, grow it strategically. In a world obsessed with speed and spectacle, Clint Eastwood's enduring empire reminds us that sometimes the slowest burn leaves the deepest mark. It's almost impossible to grasp just how seismic Clint Eastwood's breakthrough really was. On a shoestring budget of barely $2 million, a handful of scrappy westerns set fire to Hollywood's rulebook. When the good, the bad, and the ugly alone roped in nearly $39 million and sold over 44 million tickets worldwide, the message was undeniable. Clint wasn't just playing the game, he was rewriting it. This unlikely trilogy of spaghetti westerns didn't just earn a staggering $84 million globally, it paved the way for a whole new Hollywood frontier. Critics, who once sneered, now scrambled to catch up. But by then, Eastwood had seized his destiny with both hands. Yet destiny had strange twists. One wrong move, one missed opportunity, could have rewritten the entire story. Imagine if Frank Sinatra hadn't bailed on Dirty Harry. Picture Robert Mitchum accepting instead of laughing it off, or Steve McQueen saying yes instead of retreating to safer ground. But they didn't, and Clint Eastwood did. When Paul Newman personally handed him the script, saying it was better suited for him, Eastwood didn't hesitate. He grabbed it, shaped it, and transformed Dirty Harry into an icon. In a town where hesitation is fatal, Clint's fearless instinct pushed him miles ahead. But even legends gamble, and sometimes they bet everything on the wildest hand. In 1978, Eastwood stunned the world by trading his .44 Magnum for a pet orangutan in every which way, but loose. Critics sneered, fans panicked. But Clint's gut feeling, that spark others ignored, won out once again. One reason Eastwood kept outrunning disaster? He took risks that made others blink. During 1975's The Eiger Sanction, shooting high on Switzerland's deadly North Face, tragedy struck when a climber on the production was killed. It could have ended everything. Instead, Eastwood made a stunning, almost reckless choice. He'd do every death-defying stunt himself. No body doubles, no backup. At 44, he was dangling from sheer cliffs, gambling everything for authenticity. It wasn't just bravado, it was personal. After all, this was a man who once crash-landed into shark-infested waters during his army service, swimming miles to survive with nothing but raw willpower. That stubborn refusal to quit, no matter the cost, would define him for decades. Eastwood's ability to say no may have been his sharpest weapon. Superman? James Bond? Other stars would have leapt at the chance. Eastwood turned both down cold, not out of arrogance, but precision. He knew exactly who he was. The man with the squint, the gun, the quiet rage. Not someone flying around in tights or sipping martinis in a tuxedo. Every role he rejected was another brick in the fortress of his myth. By the late 1970s, Clint wasn't just a star. He was a self-made kingdom. And like every true king, he built an empire no one saw coming. Malpaso Productions wasn't just a vanity project, it was a revolution. After being told spaghetti westerns would destroy his career, Clint named his company after the so-called bad step, Malpaso, and turned that warning into a battle cry. The money from those westerns didn't just fill bank accounts, it bought hundreds of acres of prime California land near Malpaso Creek, setting up a real estate empire that would grow into the tens of millions. Today, Clint's personal real estate portfolio is estimated at over $100 million, featuring a sprawling 22-acre estate in Carmel, multiple properties in Los Angeles, and even a resort, Mission Ranch Hotel, in Carmel by the Sea. His real estate story is a living testament to turning bad omens into gold. And Clint's tastes, while famously understated, still whisper luxury. Over the years, he's been spotted behind the wheel of sleek classic Mustangs, a custom GMC Typhoon, and elegant Mercedes models. On his wrist, vintage Rolex watches, including a coveted Rolex GMT Master. While Eastwood never flaunted private jets or flashy yachts, his investments were always strategic. Quiet wealth over noisy extravagance. His current net worth, hovering around $375 million, isn't just impressive, it's bulletproof, with future projections suggesting a steady climb, thanks to his ongoing royalties, real estate, and low-key investments. Sometimes survival means knowing when to move differently than the herd. When Eastwood directed Play Misty for Me in 1971, few thought he could make the leap. First-time directors notoriously blow budgets and lose control. Clint didn't just beat expectations, he crushed them. Shooting in his hometown using real diners, radio stations, and beaches, he wrapped the project $50,000 under budget. Even his choice of music, securing Roberta Flack's haunting "The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face" for a mere $2,000, turned into a pop culture milestone. What made Eastwood lethal in Hollywood wasn't just his looks, voice, or squint. It was the way he worked. No screaming, no endless reshoots. 1 or 2 takes, maximum. Actors quickly learned, be perfect now or don't come back. Jeff Daniels once joked you had to be ready the moment the camera rolled. Matt Damon? He had to beg Clint for a second take. But Eastwood's method worked. His films felt raw, alive, urgent. That razor-sharp efficiency turned sets into arenas of pure, undiluted storytelling. And time after time it led actors straight to Oscars. From Gene Hackman's towering performance in Unforgiven to Hilary Swank's knockout in $1 Million Baby. Which brings us to a final staggering twist. Unforgiven, the dusty, brutal western that no studio wanted, sat quietly in Clint's vault for years. Others like Francis Ford Coppola had tried and failed to get it made. But Eastwood waited, patiently. He let time carve the right moment. Imagine reaching nearly 80 years old and still defying every rule Hollywood ever set. That's what Clint Eastwood did with Gran Torino. Audiences were spellbound by the story of a hardened war veteran finding unexpected redemption. It wasn't just another film. It was a mirror held up to Eastwood's own legacy. The $270 million box office haul was more than just financial success. It was a roar of approval from audiences who had grown up with him and were now growing old with him. His minimalist style, where he famously directed with little more than a whisper, had become his secret weapon. One take, maybe two, no fuss. Only raw, undeniable truth captured on camera. As Tom Hanks once joked, Eastwood directed actors like horses. No shouting, no panic, just calm leadership. And yet, beneath that calm was always a storm. Behind the spotlight, Clint's personal life carried just as much drama, shaped by years of secrets, regrets, and unexpected revelations. In a twist almost too surreal for fiction, Laurie Murray, raised in Seattle with no ties to Hollywood, uncovered a secret that would upend her entire identity. Clint Eastwood was her biological father. Both were unaware for decades, but when the truth surfaced, it wasn't scandal, it was connection. In private, Clint folded her into his life with quiet affection, choosing to embrace rather than deny. When Laurie proudly introduced herself as Laurie Eastwood at the Mule premiere in 2018, a lifetime of hidden history finally stepped into the light. But the shadows around Clint's past don't end there. Roxanne Tunis, a stunt woman and longtime companion, shared a hidden life with him for 14 years, resulting in a daughter, Kimber. While their romance faded, their bond never truly broke. Roxanne's passing in 2023 was a blow Clint couldn't hide, marking the end of an era filled with loyalty that outlasted love. And then there was Sandra Locke. What began as a golden Hollywood romance collapsed into betrayal, lawsuits, and bitterness. The courtroom battles exposed a harsher Clint, defensive, furious, and fighting not for love, but for survival. The deeper you look into Eastwood's life, the clearer it becomes. The man who built a legend on stoic silences carried battles that words could never fully express. One secret led to another. In the early 80s, still entwined with Locke, he met flight attendant Jaslyn Reeves, with whom he had two more children, Scott and Catherine. Their birth certificates chillingly noted, "Father declined." No court battles, no tabloids at first. Just years of hidden lives quietly unfolding in the background, until family tensions erupted decades later, with Catherine's explosive public grievances in 2024. Even in love, Clint chose a different path. Christina Sandera wasn't a starlet or social climber. She was grounded, a hotel hostess who shared Clint's love of quiet dignity. Their bond lasted a decade, far from flashing cameras. Her tragic death in 2024 from heart complications left Clint visibly broken. Friends noted that while Clint's public statements were minimal, his grief radiated in every quiet, solitary move he made afterward. Yet Clint never stopped moving forward. At 94, when most legends are honored with lifetime achievement montages, Clint was back behind the camera, directing Juror Number 2, a tense courtroom thriller that's anything but nostalgic. His style remains razor-sharp, his instincts as deadly accurate as ever. But just as the film was gaining traction, a shocking twist set the internet ablaze. An interview about the movie mysteriously vanished from YouTube, sparking theories of censorship. Was Warner Brothers silencing their own icon to protect the film from political backlash? The mystery only deepened Clint's aura. The rebel, the survivor, the voice Hollywood still couldn't control. Clint Eastwood's financial empire mirrors his creative tenacity. With a current estimated net worth hovering around $375 million, Eastwood has methodically grown his wealth through smart investments, relentless work, and a legendary sense of privacy. His real estate holdings alone are worth over $70 million, including his beloved Mission Ranch in Carmel, sprawling estates in Sun Valley, Idaho, and a cliffside mansion overlooking Pebble Beach. His love for classic American muscle cars is no secret either, owning pristine Ford GTs, a rare 1955 Cadillac Eldorado, and multiple Mercedes-Benz models that he's kept for decades. His watches tell the same story: understated luxury, favoring brands like Rolex and IWC, chosen less for flash and more for rugged endurance.